What is going on, guys? We're back here with another video, and today we're talking about the brand new popping show that recently just wrapped up, Bleach 1000 Year Blood War Season 2, The Separation. Like most of you, I wrapped up watching the second part, and as usual, the episodes were magnificently animated. Great stuff once again, and all credit needs to be given to the studio that puts out this great content on a slow-ish basis. Great stuff once again. They definitely didn't drop the ball this time at any point. But I'll be honest with you guys, from a personal perspective, I'd definitely say I personally lost interest with what the source material was serving up to us this time around. The first part of the show, in my personal opinion, was much more engaging to the stuff that was handled and served to us this time around. I'll say this for a couple of reasons, and I just wanted to make this clear. This is purely opinion, and I'll make this genuinely clear that objectively it definitely is still solid, but from my personal opinion, the content that was served this time around, for me personally, didn't really engage me or interest me that much. And I understand completely if you disagree, but let me just tell you why I feel this way and why these are some reasons that I saw and lost interest in this season of Bleach 1000 Year Blood War. In this part, we were seeing the Sternritters in their full effects, using their unique abilities alongside the power-up granted from receiving a letter from Yuha, or whatever way his name is pronounced. We saw the Quincy's paired up in typical Bleach fashion by having a one-on-one fight or a 2v1 fight against the captain of the day or the lieutenant or vice captain of the day, and that's essentially how the battles were spaced out, and that's how it all went down. I'll be honest, there was a huge lack of main character involvement this time around. Side character Soul Reapers were getting huge amounts of screen time. No hate, but damn bro, in the final arc, I would, my personal opinion, prefer to see main characters scrapping. Now, to be honest, we did see important characters such as Kuchiki Byakuya and other important characters that are more so important, Rukia, Renji, Azaraki, Kenpachi. We did see them in action, but compared to the side characters that got some screen time, they definitely were taking the majority of the content and the runtime in this part of the show, which is quite disappointing in my personal opinion. Ichigo was barely in the show. We barely even saw a lick of this guy's new power. I don't know about you, but the way it was executed in that final episode of the previous part, The Blade Is Me, which was an extremely great episode, very hype-inducing, and it was a very cool and all-encompassing moment that we got to see with Ichigo and as the rest of the fans. It was quite disappointing that in this part of the season we weren't able to see the reward or the fruits of the labor of Ichigo finally having two Zanpakuto split into the two swords. It's really unfortunate that we're only getting 13 episodes in maps, maybe 6-month intervals or half a year or 8-month intervals, whatever. So waiting is definitely a slog. And if you perhaps have similar sentiments such as myself, and you're kind of getting a little bit to the dry parts, it's a little bit harder for you to get fully involved in the series. Now, I'll be honest with you, towards the end part, the Squad Zero fights were definitely very interesting and very good. It was cool to see them in their action, in their element. But I'll be honest, the constant revival trope definitely got boring. Please, if somebody gets down or someone gets cut down or something happens that's significant to the character, can they please just stay down? Because this constantly happens in these type of shows, to the point that if we see somebody go down, we're like, is he really dead? Or is he just acting dead? Or is he playing dead? It's just so... The emotional weight essentially dissipates because it's so common for a character to not actually die. And the Quincy King fight with Osho was a little bit perplexing to me. I'm not sure, but that fight didn't carry the same weight that the Yamamoto weight had. Let's keep it 1,000, my guy. Let's keep it 1,000. The Yamamoto fight with Yuha was far more engaging, and even though it wasn't actually Yuha who was fighting, that fight was far more exciting. Now, you could argue it's because we've already known Yamamoto for a long period of time and we've been waiting for the longest to finally see his Bankai. But regardless of that, from a visual spectacle perspective, that fight was simply much more engaging than the one we got with Osho over here. Now, this may seem like this is a little bit negative. I'm hating. He just doesn't like Bleach. He's a Bleach hater. No, that's the furthest from the truth. You can look to my content, and I'll even put it down in the description. I was surprisingly, humbly surprised and pleasantly surprised to see how well Bleach came out in this new Bleach 1000 Year Blood War. I was genuinely shocked because, in my personal opinion, as I've said before in the previous video, Bleach was usually like a 6.5 to a 7.5, and the peaks being an 8.5 to a 9 at maximum. But usually the range that Bleach operated from, in my personal opinion, was like a 7 to a 7.5. That's the usual area where it was at. And in the final arcs, they were more consistent with the 7.5, it being a higher quality show by the end of it all. But we didn't get to see important characters like Ichigo, Uryu, Chad, Orihime, these characters that we've been watching since the beginning of the show. We didn't really see them operate. Now, fair enough, we're probably going to see them have more character involvement in the next part of it. But all I'm saying is that in this current piece, in this platter that we were served, I just personally wasn't as engaged than I would have hoped. So in my personal opinion, this section of this Bleach show that we were served over here, I gotta give it a 6 out of 10. For me, it didn't personally blow me away. This is not to say that it was bad by any means, but in comparison to what was served before, this section of it, in my personal opinion, was the drier part of the entire thing. It's more some setup, some interesting Squad Zero fights, seeing the Quincy's and the Stern Ritters being dispatched. Cool stuff over there. But this isn't going to be memorable stuff in my personal opinion. So guys, those are my thoughts. Hope you enjoy the video. Don't just be dropping hate. Just understand, this was definitely a much more opinionated review and definitely less objective, as the animation and the visual spectacle was still absolutely phenomenal. From that perspective, it still maintained its quality without a doubt. But for me personally, in terms of the source material that was served to us, I was bored. And that's just how I feel. You can take it how you like. Take it easy, gents. Check you at the next video. Cheers.